15-year-old me was not a risk taker. I've learned to enjoy risk. You see, risk and fear are linked. Fear is actually a superpower. It's an asset given to us by God. It's a talent. We're meant to embrace fear. I look for it. I want to feel fear. And if you feel fear, then you can take risk and you can do incredible things. People need to learn to start saying yes to things again. Not saying no because they can. Learn to love fear. Fear helps us grow. It's like a muscle in itself. Love fear, then learn to take risk. And that's all I've done. I've learned to love fear.
Simon Squibb, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You are tearing, right?
I feel emotional. Yeah, I haven't cried many times in my life. Just when my son was born and when my wife said yes, when I asked her to marry me, I've not cried many times. I cried my heart out today. But I'm here to hopefully answer some questions and give you what you need. But I feel emotional, so please forgive me, anyone listening, if I sound a bit emotional.
What happened there?
I've never felt so much love in one moment. So 1,000 people in that room, the 3.8 million people that voted for what I'm doing, and the support and the love. I've never had it. I've got love for my wife, I've got love for my son, I've got love for my friends, but that intense love all at once, I've never felt it. So it made me feel emotionally loved, and I hope everyone gets to experience it. It was one of the most. I'll never forget the moment that's just happened ever.
$1 million, does that make any difference to you?
Of course.
To your bank account?
Not to my personal bank account, but to our mission. I think this money is energy. Energy is all money is. So this is energy that I can now use to give more people energy. So money is just energy. And I think the support means as it's so much to me. You know, the support of everybody in that room, I can feel it now. Ever since I've left that room, everybody shouting, well done, congratulations, we love you. You know, like the love for something I just was doing every day because I enjoyed it and because I knew the little thing I was doing every day was making a difference to a few people, has grown into a movement. And I just feel grateful. And I feel like it's given me energy to go and do more of it. And it's almost like a pat on the back, if you like, you know, like, well done, you're doing something good, keep going.
What was the added value of your participation that helped you to win the prize?
I don't know, other than that I built a community up over the last 5 years. It's not just a following. A lot of people think it's just followers. I've got 11 million followers. That's what people tell me. But actually, no, I've got 11 million people that want to help other people with their dream. So the following is sometimes misunderstood. It's about what the community believes they can do to help the world be a better place. So I built this platform on the back of like, what can we do together to help each other? And so it's a community thing. It's not a following thing. And I think that's where I have built this differently. I'm not an influencer just looking for followers. I'm a person of influence trying to change how we think so that we can all just help each other without any expectation of anything in return.
But where did you get this inspiration and from where? When did that start?
I can trace it back to 15-year-old me when my father suddenly died of a heart attack. Wow. And instantly he was gone. My father figure was gone. And then through a series of sad things, I found myself homeless 3 weeks later. So I was on the streets, staying at family friends, trying to find a place to live, to survive. So I went from a loving family, I've got 3 brothers, you know, having a loving environment, to being alone. And I found it really hard, as you'd expect. And at 15, I thought I was an adult. You know, a lot of 15-year-olds listening might think they're an adult at 15. You think you know a lot, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I tried to get a job to survive, but no one would hire me because you need an ID card called a national insurance card in England to get a job. And without that, no one can give you a job. It's a number. If you don't have it, you can't get a job. So I wasn't old enough to have that number. You need to be 16. So I couldn't get a job. I tried. That was what the school system taught me to do, get a job. But then something happened, something like magical. In all the pain and all the desperation that I had at that time, a part of my brain woke up I didn't know I had. I call it the entrepreneur muscle. And everybody has it. Everybody listening has this muscle. Some have used it, some have not. Some have used it and got scared and turned it back off again, but it's there. And I had no choice but to turn it on. And I started a company. And
Gardening.
Yes. So I walked past a big house that had a very messy garden. And my brain said something to me that I'd never heard before. It said, if you've got a big house, you can probably afford to have a tidy garden. So I knocked on the door and I said to the homeowner, I will tidy up your garden. And can you pay me to do it? And they said yes. And that was how my gardening company got born. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any gardening knowledge. I'd never done a sales thing in my life. I just had no choice. I didn't just want to be successful. I needed to be successful. And that secret recipe I've lived by ever since. The 19 companies I built, most of them have been with no money. I just need one customer. Most people just need one person to believe in them. That's it.
You left the school, right?
I had no choice but to leave school. I left school and I never went back to that world. I left the education system. And I soon realized once I left the education system, I'd been in school at that point 13 years. And I knew nothing about how to live in the real world. Nothing. I've been learning maths for 10 years. And I didn't know what financial literacy was, how money worked. None of that stuff was taught to me in schools. Now, here we are, 30 years later. It's all taught now, right? Financial literacy? No, it's not. It's not. What didn't serve me is still not being given to young people today. So that's why I started going on social media, to give young people that knowledge for free. I don't charge for my help. I don't charge for my knowledge. I think it's important that people understand this stuff so they can have a better life.
Well, you have children, right?
I have a 7-year-old son. He's my boss.
He's your boss?
He is.
But since he's your boss, what would your answer be if he asked you to leave the school? Like that, I don't want to go to school anymore.
I homeschool my son. So he doesn't go to school.
Homeschooling.
Homeschooling. And so anyone listening, when they hear homeschooling, maybe they misunderstand it. My son does not get put in a room all day with 30 other children and told to sit down and shut up and listen to what the teacher says. Instead, he wakes up like you and I, and he is treated with respect. And I ask him, what would he like to do today? What would he like to learn? And so last week, before I left for Dubai, he wanted to go into a forest and discover different berries and what food they make. That's what he wanted to learn. So that's what we did. And he asked some of his other homeschool friends to join him. And they ran around a forest trying to make blueberry jam.
So is this the only way to develop his social skills?
It's more like it's the only way to develop the enjoyment of learning. If you put 30 people in a room, kids, all the same age, and tell them to learn the same thing in the same way, come on, let's have common sense. Some people will like to learn that way, but I'm not all of them. So my son, he wants to go outside and see the world. And he has hobbies at 7 years old. He enjoys history. He loves reading about history and hearing about history. I take him to a castle. I take him to Stonehenge. I show him history. I don't sit him in a room and tell him to read a book. I show him the world. And he socializes just like anybody else. His friends come over to play. You socialize, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have to put you in a room all day to socialize, do I? With the same people every day.
No.
You'll call up your friend and you'll meet each other for coffee and you'll go out for dinner. So my son does the same, except I take him for dinner, of course. But he meets his friends. He's not forced into a room with them every single day. So people, when they hear homeschooling, misunderstand. It's not about not having any sort of socializing life. He has more interaction with people than I would say when you're at school. He has a whole diverse range, adults, children. He gets to meet all sorts of different people. He travels with me when I go around the world helping people with their dreams. So he gets to see the world. And I think it's healthy. I think homeschooling is a way I can also be with him a bit more.
If you were a decision maker or a decision taker, let's say, what decision that you would take to change the education system, to make it better?
It's a very big question. I spent a long time thinking about this. And if I went through all of it, this podcast would be 4 days long. I'll give you the top line. Right now, when a kid goes into school in England and in America, the first question they're asked is, What will you do when you grow up? That question traps young minds. It makes you instantly think you've got to pick a certain thing. A doctor, a lawyer, a bus driver. You've got to pick a certain thing. That's not what you're meant to do. I would instantly change it to be this question. What problem would you like to solve?
You have founded 19 companies and invested in 73 startups. This is really interesting, but you came from a very humble background. Let's say you are a risk taker.
This is all training. Like 15-year-old me was not a risk taker. I've learned to enjoy risk. You see, risk and fear are linked. Fear is actually a superpower. It's an asset given to us by God. It's a talent. We're meant to feel fear. The original design, a lion's coming towards us, we feel fear. You know what? We run faster. We can do the 4-minute mile when a lion is coming towards us. You know, we can do incredible things. We have superpowers. We can figure out how to survive. We're meant to embrace fear. I look for it. I want to feel fear. And if you feel fear, then you can take risk and you can do incredible things. People need to learn to start saying yes to things again. Not saying no because they can. Learn to love fear. Fear helps us grow. It's like a muscle in itself. Love fear, then learn to take risk. And that's all I've done. I've learned to love fear.
Do you think we need to ask the consumers what they need before starting any business?
Well, Henry Ford once said, if I asked my customers what they want, they would have said a faster horse. So I think there's a combination of like visionary thinking when it comes to business, like what you think people need, but there's also an element of like what's in the market that you can improve upon. So Steve Jobs used to say, go where the puck is going, not where the puck is, right? So Steve Jobs is a visionary profile. So he'll say, right, everyone wants an iPhone and that's fine. But there is a model that is simply, what do I do to make sure that people who are moving the pucks around the court have the right equipment, have the right nutrition, have the right advice? So I think everyone's got to think differently. But I think, knowing when to innovate and when to just evolve is important in business.
So let's go to your philosophy, your visionary philosophy. How could I figure out my purpose in life?
Well, first of all, do you know your purpose?
I work hard. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you what your dream is.
My dream? To be the number one in what I'm doing right now.
Right. So, well, you are in a bracket. Some people don't know what their dream is. And that's because they haven't asked themselves enough. You have a destination. Now, if you get in a vehicle and you don't know your destination, I promise you it will run out of fuel. But if you get in a vehicle and you know your destination, high chance you can get there. So destination is quite important. No target, you don't hit it. So I think a dream is just a destination. And maybe when you get there, you can update your vision. It can be different, but at least you know where you're going, right? So what do? Now, every day you interview people, you do a good job at that, you put the content out properly, you promote it properly, you will get there. You could become the number one podcaster in the world, right? I think that's the thing. But to your point, if you don't know your dream, then I suggest a few things. First of all, think about it. Ask yourself that critical question. Get your critical brain thinking. Ask it, even if you don't know the answer. Maybe write down what you love to do and what you don't love to do. Just get to know yourself and your dream can come to you. The second way is hang out with people that are following their dream because it's infectious. If you hang out with someone with purpose, wow, you feel it. It's a different energy to people that are just trying to make money. So you go hang out with people, whatever it takes, depending on your stage in life. Maybe you go do an internship with someone that's doing it. Go learn from them, go feel the energy, because you will not be able to stop yourself from discovering your dream if you hang out with people that have a dream.
Like hanging out with Elon's mom, because you were
Yeah, Mrs. Musk, she's inspirational. I can see why she's got 3 successful sons. I can see why Elon is the way he is. I think some people are lucky enough to be born into a family where the parents are inspirational, but not everyone's that lucky. But she is an inspiration. I can see why. I can feel it just meeting her energy. But I think that for those that don't have that in their parents or don't have parents, then you can go seek it out. You can be mentored by these people by consuming content of people you respect, for example. It doesn't even have to be face-to-face, side-by-side. you can just make sure that you fill up your social media pages with content that inspires you, and you can get energy from those people that you most admire.
But what did she tell you?
I asked her dream, and she said that she's done it.
Wow.
And the thing is, what's really interesting, I mean, she's very, very vibrant and very young. And I think that age is just a number, but her energy age is very young. She's still very active and very, I felt a very young energy from her. I think the thing is that what you don't want to do is live with regret. So a lot of people don't go for their dream. And then when they're older, they regret what they didn't do. They don't regret what they did do. No one regrets what they did do. This is the thing. You only regret what you didn't do. So if you start that business and it doesn't work, it's a story, but at least you tried. It's that I didn't do it story that you're going to regret. And that's the vibe I got from her. You know, she's fulfilled her dream. She's got 3 successful sons she's proud of. She enjoys her life. And I think that, yeah, a lot of people don't realize that you don't want to get to the end of life and not have had done certain things. If you've got an able body right now, go travel the world. You know, go see things. You know, maybe later, you know, we're all going to get older. You won't be able to do those things. You won't be able to hike up mountains anymore. So you got to go do it when you can, right? And I think the same with having a big, ambitious goal. You know, that's why everyone needs to ask themselves what their dream is. That's why I wrote a book about it. I've written a book to try and help people understand how this all works, and I hope the book brings value to people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simon Squibb. Glad to have you here. Congratulations again. Good luck.
Congratulations on eventually becoming the #1 podcaster in the world. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.